Welcome back. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most underappreciated yet absolutely crucial aspects of filmmaking. We're demystifying the invisible art of professional audio post-production. When we think of movies, we usually think of the stunning visuals. But for this explainer, we're focusing entirely on what we hear, specifically the dialogue.
Picture this for a second. You are totally sucked into a deeply emotional scene. A character is pouring their heart out. The lighting is perfect, the acting is incredible, but you can't hear a single word they're saying. Their voice is entirely buried under roaring traffic, the howl of the wind, or maybe some blaring, overly dramatic musical score. Just like that, boom, you're pulled right out of the story. It's an incredibly frustrating experience, isn't it? It instantly shatters the magic of the film.
So let's dive into our guiding light for today. Great dialogue editing isn't about making voices louder, it's about making them clear. That right there is the core thesis of audio post-production. You can't just crank up the volume knob and expect a terrible recording to magically sound good. If you make a noisy recording louder, you literally just get louder noise. Clarity always triumphs over raw volume.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover the power of clear dialogue, how to listen, trim, and clean, smoothing out edits and balancing levels, the real importance of natural sound, and finally, some common beginner mistakes to avoid. All right, part one, the power of clear dialogue, straight from the recording to the audience. Think of post-production like building a house. Here's the architectural flow. You record the dialogue, you edit it, you clean it, and only then do you mix. It's absolutely vital that editing and cleaning happen before you even think about dropping in soaring music tracks or heavy sound effects. Professional editors ensure every single word is pristine first. They build that rock-solid foundation before layering anything else on top.
Moving right along to part two, listen, trim, and clean. Let's crack open the editor's toolkit.
So what's step one? You guessed it, listen carefully. And I mean critically listen. Before making a single cut, you really have to evaluate that audio. Is every word understandable? Is there some weird background noise creeping in? Is the volume jumping around? And here is a huge tip straight from the pros. Always use headphones for this. Why? Because small problems like a tiny click or a low, sneaky hum are so much easier to hear through good headphones than they are to spot visually on a computer monitor.
Once you've really listened, it's time to get ruthless and start trimming. Look, not everything recorded on set actually belongs in the final cut. You have to chop out all those distractions. We're talking about slicing away awkwardly long pauses, false starts, and accidental mic bumps. You gotta delete the casual chatter happening right before the director yells action and cut out that dead silence lingering after they yell cut. Trimming all of this fat is what makes the final conversation feel tightly focused and supernatural.
But honestly, just trimming isn't enough, because on-set audio is usually complete chaos. You're constantly fighting this uphill battle against unwanted background noise, the howling wind, rattling air conditioners, that incredibly annoying electrical hum from the lights, blaring traffic, even just the whir of a laptop fan. These are the absolute banes of an audio recording, and they plague editors on pretty much every single project. To fight back against all that, editors rely on noise reduction software. But notice the massive warning label attached to this tool. You have to use it carefully. The professional realization here is that over-editing and scrubbing your audio completely 100% clean actually destroys the human performance. If you push that noise reduction too hard, your actors suddenly sound completely unnatural, metallic, and robotic. Okay, section 3. Smooth edits and balance levels. This is where we create that truly seamless experience. So how exactly do we fix those harsh, abrupt audio clicks left over from trimming? Enter the crossfade. Think of crossfades as the architectural glue of dialogue editing. It's a technique that gently and smoothly blends the end of one audio clip right into the beginning of the next. By overlapping the audio just a tiny fraction and fading them into each other, you completely wipe out those harsh cuts. The transition basically becomes invisible to the human ear.
Next up, maintaining consistent audio levels. This is all about balance. Throughout a scene, a quiet whisper shouldn't suddenly become a blow-your-speakers-out shout on the very next line. Editors meticulously balance those levels so that you, the audience, never have to keep reaching for the remote to ride the volume. A smooth, consistent listening experience is what keeps you fully locked into the story.
Let's put this into perspective. Imagine a standard outdoor interview. Version A is highly distracting. You've got loud traffic, the volume is jumping all over the place, there are weirdly long pauses and jarring, abrupt cuts. It's a mess. But then you look at version B, which sounds incredibly professional. The noise is carefully reduced, the levels are perfectly balanced, the pauses feel natural, and crossfades make the cuts completely invisible. And here's the kicker. The speaker didn't change at all. That massive night and day transformation came entirely from careful editing.
Bringing us to Section 4, the importance of natural sound. Why clarity always beats perfection.
When you're deep in the edit, you have to remember one golden rule. Natural sounds human. It is so incredibly tempting to just chop out every single breath, every sigh, every tiny little pause. But you really shouldn't. Small pauses, natural breathing, and realistic speech patterns are exactly what help a performance feel authentic and believable. If you nuke all the breaths out of a take, the actor sounds like a machine. The goal of a pro editor is clarity, not some absolute sterile perfection. Keeping that human element in the edit is absolutely crucial.
And finally, Section 5, common beginner audio mistakes. Let's break down myth versus reality.
Beginners usually rely way too heavily on automatic fixes. They'll crank the noise reduction to the absolute max, leaving you with these over-processed artificial-sounding voices. They leave in abrupt edits, and they're constantly chasing this myth of perfect silence. But the professional reality? Pros prioritize clarity and authenticity over everything. They want clear voices, smooth transitions glued together with crossfades, and above all, believable human dialogue. Ultimately, dialogue editing is, quite literally, an invisible art form. Professional editors will spend hours upon hours making these microscopic, tiny adjustments to the audio waveforms, adjustments that most audiences will never, ever consciously notice. And honestly, that is exactly the point. When dialogue editing is done flawlessly, you aren't thinking about the sound at all. You're just totally focused on the characters, the emotion, and the story unfolding in front of you. Which leaves us with this final thought. The next time you sit down to watch a film or a documentary, are you going to notice the invisible art of dialogue editing? Will you hear those seamless crossfades, the perfectly balanced levels, and the natural breaths left in for authenticity? Once you know it's there, it really changes how you experience media. Thank you so much for joining me today for this explainer, and definitely stick around because you won't want to miss our next one, where we dive into ambience and room tone and discover why true silence almost never exists in film. Until then, keep listening.